I still remember the crisp fall day my spouse and I first visited Willow Grove, a suburban enclave with pristine lawns and tree-lined paths. It looked like the ideal spot to put down roots, cozy craftsman homes, winding trails, and neighbors waving warmly from porches. The realtor raved about the HOA's knack for keeping everything picture-perfect. We had no clue that behind the neat hedges and painted fences lurked a controlling force ready to upend our quiet life. My name's Lucas Hayes, a federal K-9 enforcement officer with the U.S. Agency details I'll keep vague. My job involves training elite service dogs for tasks like contraband detection and security at airports, borders, and high-stakes sites. My partner, both at work and in life, is Cedar, a sharp-eyed golden Labrador with a nose that could sniff out a needle in a haystack and a loyalty that runs deeper than most human bonds. Cedar and I have worked together for years, our connection forged through countless missions. I needed to relocate for a new assignment, and Willow Grove seemed like a calm retreat to balance my intense job with a normal home life. Little did I know, moving here would plunge me into a high-stakes battle with the HOA, led by a woman named Vivian Holt, though locals whispered her nickname, Claire, with a mix of fear and disdain. Known for her nosy interrogations, random finds, and obsession with details like fence heights or lawn mowing schedules, Vivian was a suburban tyrant. This is the story of how she and her loyal security guard crossed a line by harming Cedar, my trusted service dog, and how that unforgivable act sparked a chain reaction that brought her empire crashing down. My spouse, Emma, and I moved into our Willow Grove home on a balmy late summer day. Sunlight danced on trimmed shrubs as we unpacked our SUV. Neighbors strolled by, offering smiles, and hellos. It felt like we'd found a peaceful haven. The next morning, I took Cedar for a walk along the smooth sidewalks when I spotted a woman in crisp slacks, clutching a clipboard, marching from house to house. Her hair was a severe bob, her face pinched with perpetual disapproval. She scribbled notes at every yard, likely judging grass length or mailbox placement. Seeing me, she crossed the street briskly. "Morning," she said, her smile tight and cold. "You must be new. I'm Vivian Holt, though some call me Claire." A forced chuckle followed. "President of the Willow Grove Homeowners Association." I introduced myself as Cedar sniffed her shoes politely. Vivian stepped back, eyeing him with disgust. "A dog," she said, more accusation than observation. "Yes," I replied calmly, "a service dog." Her brows shot up. "Service dog? I hope you have papers. We're strict about pets' leashes, breeds, shots, you name it." Cedar sat still, perfectly trained. "He's fully certified," I said. "I'm a federal K-9 officer. Cedar's part of my job." Vivian nodded, but her posture stayed rigid. "As long as he's no trouble. We've had issues with so-called service animals, unruly ones. I'll be watching." Her smile returned, all teeth, no warmth. "Welcome to Willow Grove. I'll send our HOA rules soon." Emma, hearing about it later, laughed. "She sounds charming. Maybe just a stickler." I wanted to agree, but Vivian's tone had planted a seed of unease. I sensed Cedar and I were already on her radar. Over the next few weeks, Willow Grove's polished surface began to crack. I overheard neighbors muttering about the HOA's overreach, fines for trash cans left out past noon, penalties for a car with a low tire in a driveway. Vivian, they said, targeted certain residents with baseless claims like property devaluation or excessive noise. One day, while organizing my garage, a neighbor, Tom, ambled over, offering a wry grin. "You're the new guy on Elm Lane, right? Saw you with that sharp dog." I nodded, patting Cedar, who wagged his tail. Tom sighed. "Fair warning, Vivian's a control freak, especially about dogs. Last year, she hounded a guy whose pup barked too much, threatened to seize it. He moved out." I frowned. "What power does she have for that?" "None, legally," Tom said. "But she buries people in fines and threats. It's easier to leave than fight. She's got the security guard wrapped around her finger to a guy who patrols, dishing out warnings for nothing." That hit a nerve. I'd seen the guard, Greg Tanner, cruising in a golf cart, tall and stern, scowling like he owned the place. I thought he was just checking properties, not acting as Vivian's enforcer. Sure enough, 2 weeks in, a letter arrived, not mailed, but slid under our door in a plain envelope. It was an HOA notice, Potential noncompliance. Animal documentation not submitted. $50 processing fee. It demanded Cedar's paperwork within 5 days or escalating fines. I groaned. As a federal officer, I had Cedar's credentials, but no neighborhood ever asked for them unless there was a real issue. Emma read it, frowning. This is nuts. You giving them his file? No way, I said. I'll show proof he's a service dog. That's enough. I visited the HOA office, a cramped room off the community center. Vivian sat at a desk, posture rigid, eyeing me as I walked in. Lucas, she greeted, voice clipped. You got our notice. Yeah, I said, keeping calm. You want Cedar's certification? Here. I set down a photocopy of his service dog ID and vet records. He's compliant. Vivian scanned them, lips pursed. I'll need to verify these. We've had fakes before. My patience thinned. Go ahead. Here's my agency's contact. You'll confirm everything. Her eyes flickered at agency. We keep things local, she said. No need for outsiders. I trust there'll be no issues with your dog. If he causes trouble, we'll revisit this. I swallowed a retort and left, hoping that was the end. It wasn't. Soon, I noticed Vivian's focus tightening. Twice, I caught Greg staring from his golf cart as I walked Cedar at dusk, slowing to scribble notes. Once, he lingered near my driveway, eyeing Cedar sniffing the curb. Neighbors whispered that Vivian griped at HOA meetings about external influences bringing unwanted scrutiny. Code for me, the federal officer. Emma wondered if we should confront her, but I shrugged it off. Ignore her, and maybe she'll back off. But Vivian didn't back off. A month in, I was jogging with Cedar, off duty but in his service vest, when I passed the community center. Greg's golf cart was parked crookedly, lights flashing. I barely noticed until Cedar tensed, ears up. Shouts rang out. A woman, Mrs. Larson, was arguing with Greg near the entrance, his stance aggressive, looming over her. I caught fragments. You can't tow my car over a lapsed permit, she yelled. She spotted me and quieted, not wanting a scene. Curious, I slowed. Greg saw us and glared. Hey, Fed guy, he sneered. Always snooping with that mutt. I raised a brow. Just jogging. Problem. He glanced at Cedar, calm at my side. Keep that dog in line. This is HOA business. Annoyance flared. Cedar's no issue. You, yelling at residents, is that okay? His face darkened, stepping closer. Don't get cute. You flashed some badge at Vivian, but I run these streets. Cedar shifted slightly. I steadied him. My pulse quickened. This wasn't my usual high-stakes mission, but it felt hostile. If there's an issue, I said, talk civilly. No one wants trouble. Greg hesitated, spat on the ground, and muttered, stay out of it, before stomping back to Mrs. Larson, who hurried off. Cedar and I jogged on, but the encounter left me rattled. Greg's temper and Vivian's leash on him spelled trouble. 2 days later, a new notice was taped to my door. Resident involved in altercation with security. Immediate compliance required. $100 fine for disturbance of peace. I was livid. Disturbance? I'd just been jogging. Greg started it. Emma, ever calm, suggested appealing or getting a lawyer. I went to the next HOA meeting, held in the community center's bland hall. Vivian sat at a head table with 2 board members, Greg looming in back, staring me down. When I raised my hand to challenge the fine, Vivian's smile was all performance. Mr. Hayes, sorry you had issues with our security, but we don't tolerate confrontation. I kept cool. Your guard confronted me. I told him to calm down. No altercation. Her brows arched. Our team says you approached aggressively with your large dog. Safety comes first. I snapped. Safety? Your guard threatened me for existing. She sighed dramatically. Witnesses say otherwise. Who? I scanned the room. No hands. Her allies stayed silent, likely scared. She waved me off. File an appeal. Next item. Greg smirked as I left, fists tight, knowing this was a rigged game. Disgusted, I dug deeper. If Vivian backed an aggressive guard, what else was she hiding? I asked neighbors discreetly. Many had stories: fines for late parking stickers, penalties for long grass despite compliance. A single mom said Greg threatened to tow her car over a day late permit. Another got fined for a fence that met code. Whispers grew. Vivian might be skimming HOA funds, vague budget lines, high security costs, rumors of personal accounts. No proof, but those who questioned her faced new violations. I wondered if she saw me, a federal officer, as a threat to her control, with Cedar as an easy target. If so, she'd get bolder. It happened 6 weeks in, on a cloudy afternoon. I'd returned from a port inspection with Cedar, off duty, his vest off. Tired, I parked, leashed him, and headed for our door. A shout stopped me. "Hold it!" Greg stormed across my lawn, baton raised, face twisted with rage. "That dog's not vested against rules." My heart raced. "He doesn't need a vest at home." "Back off." He stepped closer, baton up. "Vivian says he's not a real service dog. She wants him gone." My stomach dropped. "We've been over this. He's certified." "Leave." Greg's sneer grew wild. "Show papers now." I snapped. "I don't owe you anything on my property. Get out." He lunged, swinging the baton at Cedar. I yanked Cedar's leash, but the baton grazed his side. He yelped, pain piercing the air. Fury erupted in me. "What the hell?" I shouted, stepping between them. Greg raised the baton again, eyes crazed. Cedar cowered, ears flat. Instinct kicked. Ine disarmed Greg with a trained move, twisting his wrist until the baton dropped. He stumbled, roaring, "I'll hit it again if you don't leave." Vivian appeared, hurrying over, but her face held no shock, only a glint of approval. "Greg, restrain that dog," she barked. "We can't have a violent animal here." I stared, incredulous. Cedar whimpered, bruised, trembling. "You're delusional," I hissed. "Your guard attacked him." Vivian's jaw tightened. "You assaulted our security. That dog's out of control. I'm calling the police." Neighbors gathered, watching. I forced calm. "Leave my property. I'm calling the real cops." She smirked. "We're clean. The law's with us." She was wrong. I dialed 911, reporting an assault on my service dog by an HOA guard, noting my federal status. I alerted my supervisor, bracing for escalation. Police arrived, lights flashing. Greg claimed Cedar lunged, and he struck in self-defense. Vivian backed him, saying they feared for safety. But 2 neighbors, watching from windows, told police Cedar was calm, Greg the aggressor. Officers took statements, advising me to get Cedar vet care and stay available. Vivian pushed for my arrest, claiming I attacked Greg, but with no evidence, police ignored her. As paramedics checked Greg's wrist from my disarm, I rushed Cedar to an emergency vet, Emma joining me, tears in her eyes as she stroked him. The vet found bruises and a cracked rib painful, but treatable with rest. Seeing Cedar hurt gutted me. Word hit my agency fast: a federal K-9 assaulted. Outraged, they urged charges. As I detailed Vivian's harassment and possible fraud, they wondered if this tied to broader corruption. The local FBI had a file on Willow Grove HOA complaints and proven fraud and extortion claims. Cedar's assault tipped their interest into action. A week later, 2 FBI agents met me at my agency with my supervisor. I handed over everything: bogus fines, neighbor accounts of intimidation, the assault, and fraud rumors. They asked about HOA funds, Greg's pay, and training. "This fits other complaints," one said. "We're digging deeper." Vivian had no idea the federal storm coming. She didn't back down, though. She posted notices calling Cedar a dangerous animal, demanding an HOA vote to ban violent dogs, even slipping a pamphlet under my door with a snarling dog caricature, nothing like Cedar labeled a public threat. Greg resumed patrols, twirling his baton, glaring at me, once revving his cart near Cedar to spook him. Cedar flinched, still bandaged, and my anger surged, but I stayed cool. The FBI worked quietly, interviewing neighbors about fees, intimidation, and Vivian's rule. Tension gripped Willow Grove. Some backed Vivian out of fear, others sensed her end. I focused on Cedar's recovery, slow but steady, though his new wariness around uniforms broke my heart. He wasn't just a toll, he was my partner, my friend. His pain fueled my resolve. Vivian called an emergency HOA meeting Thursday night. Emma and I attended, leaving Cedar with a friend. No way I'd risk more trauma. The community center buzzed with nervous chatter. Vivian sat up front with 2 board members, Greg guarding the side like a bouncer. She banged a gavel, voice grave. "We face a Crisisa resident's aggressive dog attacked our security, endangering us all. We must vote to ban such animals." A man spoke up. "Vivian, we heard the guard hit the dog, a federal service animal. What's this about?" Her eyes flashed. That's false. Our team was threatened. Safety first. I stood, voice clear. I'm Lucas Hayes. My dog, Cedar, was assaulted, not the aggressor. Witnesses confirm your guard struck him unprovoked on my property, likely on your orders. Banning him violates the ADA and local laws, opening you to lawsuits and charges. Vivian snapped, "Sit down, Mr. Hayes. You've caused enough chaos." Murmurs rose supportive ones. Before she could pivot, the doors opened. 2 FBI agents entered with local police. The room gasped. "Vivian Holt?" an agent asked. She paled. "Yes. We have warrants for your cooperation in an investigation assault on a federal CANINE, fraud, possible embezzlement." He turned to Greg. "And for Greg Tanner's arrest assault and battery on a federal dog, among other charges." Vivian leapt up. "This is outrageous. You can't interrupt our meeting." The agent's smile was icy. "We have federal authority." Greg puffed up but deflated as officers approached. Both were cuffed and let out, Vivian shrieking, Greg silent. Neighbors watched, stunned yet satisfied. News exploded. Local stations covered the arrests, hinting at HOA financial crimes. The FBI found Vivian had siphoned thousands, maybe tens of thousands, from dues, paying Greg inflated consultant fees and funneling cash to herself via fake expenses like park upgrades. Her intimidation kept questions at bay. Cedar healed, regaining strength, though skittish around strangers. I retrained him gently, my agency giving me time, knowing the toll. Neighbors thanked me, some guilty for staying quiet, scared of Vivian's wrath. I waved it off. The fault was hers and Greg's. Their trial was a spectacle. Charges of canine assault, conspiracy, wire fraud, embezzlement. Prosecutors showed Vivian's extortion and Greg's muscle kept residents cowed. Cedar's attack, caught partly on a neighbor's camera, plus vet records and witnesses, crushed their defense. Vivian's claim of community passion and Greg's self-defense lie. I testified about Cedar's role, his calm nature, the horror of the baton strike. The jury convicted both. Vivian got years in prison, hefty restitution, and fines. Her home was foreclosed to pay debts, her reign ruined. Greg faced jail for assault, unrepentant. Media called it a cautionary tale of HOA tyranny. Willow Grove changed. A new, transparent HOA board formed, waiving my fines, urging us to stay. Neighbors rallied, bringing gifts for Cedar's training, forging a true community from Vivian's ashes. Emma and I stayed, finding the neighborhood's warmth worth keeping. Cedar bounced back, resuming work, though I watched for flinches at sudden moves. Sometimes, I recall Vivian's face as she was cuffed. Shock, fury, her illusion of power shattered. She thought she could bully unchecked, using Greg to harm Cedar, a federal canine. But that misstep unraveled her world. Justice hit hard. She lost her freedom, home, and legacy. Cedar and I pressed on, stronger, proof that truth and loyalty outlast any tyrant's swing.